Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. I'm Kathy,
And I'm Jeannie.
and this is Yarning Around with Kathy and Jeannie. We've been sort of on a hiatus for the month of October. I was ill, and Jeannie was up doing her thing, and then I went away for a while. And so now we're just getting back to doing this. And I've really missed it, and I've really been looking forward to coming and chatting with you,
Yeah.
Jeannie, and
Yeah.
just talking about what we're doing
Right.
in our knitting world. So let's just dive right in. I've got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have been working on, remember I told you all about making mittens for my grandchildren? Well, I'm sort of starting to get in on that. Sorry, I'm moving that back a little bit.
That's good.
I think I look all right. Um,
You look great.
yeah, y'all, I'm just wanting to look good. I haven't put on makeup. So anyway, I've been working on these using the abracadabra yarn. And this is one I just have to do the thumb. And then this is the other one.
Cute.
So these are really easy. They're just basically you knit a cuff, you knit a body and make a gusset at the same time, like you do for most mittens. Then you tie it all off, like I've got right here. And then you just knit and knit and knit and knit and knit until it's the length that you want it. You add the other yarn, but I mean in the pattern it just calls for it to be all one color. But I've got the magic mitten yarns.
Yay.
So
Yay.
what I've told my grandkids, because they know about it, is that, well, I told one of them, because he wanted me to make him fingerless mittens. He lives far away from me. And I said, tell him that I've already got his mitten, because these are Roland's mittens, already done. And, but tell him that they're going to be magical mittens. And he needs to figure out what the magic is, what the mystery is for these mittens.
Nice. Nice.
And so this white part is going to turn yellow in the sunlight.
cool.
And that's what I'm going to tell all of them, that they need to find out the mystery of the magic of these mittens, and that they're going to just need to go around and figure it out.
Nice. That'll be
So
fun.
I think that'll be fun. So I'm making the second pair. Let me grab the yarn I'm going to use. Second pair, she wanted a dark color, so I got her this cherub Aran. It's back on the sale place.
Oh,
So you
clearance.
can, yeah, it's on clearance. So you can get this. I think it was like $4.
Wow.
And so anyway, so I've got this. It'll be plenty, and it's a really pretty. It's a little hard to see the colors. They're working on the lights in the back of the place here. So we're going to have a nice LED light that has like 3 different settings, I think, and they're going to play around to see which one works best for seeing colors and things like
That'll
that.
be fun.
So anyway, so this color is a little bit hard to see, but it's a deep purple. And so I've chosen that this yarn is going to be purple when it goes in the sunlight. Now it doesn't work when you do it through the window, because I've tried it. I've like stood on the window, I've had the glove on, and I've tried it.
Wow.
But so it only works when you go outside.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
Wow,
so
that's
excited about
interesting.
this. So she's going to do the purple. It's going to be the same exact mitten. She's going to do the purple instead of the orange right here. And then I have another lighter purple that's going to be paired with pink. And then I have a green that's going to be paired with blue.
Ooh, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
And then I'm going to do, and that will be it.
Okay, cool.
Well, I'm going to do, oh, it's not it. I'm going to do another orange, another orange and yellow.
Oh,
So see,
okay.
that's the new word, yarange.
Orange.
So I'm going to do a yarange one, like this, except I'm going to use a slightly different color of orange.
That sounds good to me.
So everything sounds good to you today, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's what I am doing, and I am so pleased. It is not even Thanksgiving, and I've got one pair
Yay.
done, except for this thumb, but the thumb is like 2 minutes.
That's fabulous.
It doesn't, maybe 15 for me, but
That's
it doesn't
fabulous.
take that long.
Yeah.
And it's just really nice. These are
Nice.
called the acorn mitts, and you
Very
can
cute.
acorn mittens, and you can find them on Ravelry. They were a purchase, so I did purchase them.
Ah.
But I have made them. I made them last year, and they adored them, and I'm making them this year. Magical. So there
Nice.
you go. So I got that done.
Great.
Any finished projects from you?
No, no. I am the queen of unfinished projects.
Of UFO, the UFO queen.
Yes, I am the UFO queen.
All right.
I'm still working on my brother's sweater.
Oh, nice.
I
What are you up to now? Because I know you were doing like the back or something, and then you like put it together or something.
it was almost done.
Oh no, oh no, this doesn't sound good.
Well, you know how we've talked about various and sundry things, but part of what we talked about was how odd the armhole was.
Yes, I do remember you talking
Remember?
about that.
And
There,
so
that's better.
it was
Sorry,
almost
I'm-
done.
I'm still adjusting
That's
and
fine.
learning this stuff. There we go. That's how I wanted it to look.
It was
Okay.
almost done.
Yes, almost
I was
done.
ready to sew
You were
the
ready
shoulders.
to sew the shoulders.
Because it says when you've done the shaping, you finish the neck, sew the neck,
Okay.
and then you pick up around the neck and do the
Right.
collar or whatever.
Oh,
So it was
okay.
almost done.
Uh-huh.
And I have the sleeves done and everything, and I was seaming up the sleeves. And remember, we had this little
Yes.
short, weird
Yes.
armhole.
I do
Okay.
remember that. And we
So-
thought maybe it would fix itself
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, magical thinking. So
Yeah. Sometimes it works.
yeah. Anyway, remember how we're always told, all of us, we are always told, read the whole pattern.
We are told that, and you made a few mistakes over these last few months by not reading that pattern.
Well, the second to the last sentence.
What does it say?
Sew sleeves to the armhole at 9.5 inches.
Oh no!
So I had to rip back
Oh no, Jeannie.
7 inches
Well, that
from the shoulders.
sucks.
It does. However, I was just blithely knitting away, and the
Right.
back was the same as the front.
Uh-huh.
So I went back and read the whole pattern. No. The front you knit to 21.5 inches.
Okay.
The back you knit to 24 before you start the shoulder and armhole shaping. So,
Okay.
I mean, and I had
You
to rip.
just didn't read
Yeah.
the directions.
No.
That really is true. I mean, I try to skim over them.
Yeah.
I don't always do it either. But there was something I was working on years ago, and I had to rip it out because I hadn't read it.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to go and read it ahead.
Right. And so the lesson is read the whole stupid pattern. Read the stinking pattern. And then don't just read it once and assume you know what it said, because I mean I'm a good knitter. I know how to make a sweater,
Yeah, you do.
but I apparently don't know how to read the directions. So anyway, I ripped it back just as well, because I would have discovered that the back was not
Was not correct either.
either
and
with the front.
that's
and-
all right.
So
It's so beautiful, though.
well, thank you, and I hope he gets to wear it before next year.
Well, we can always hope. You
Yeah.
can do it. See, look
Yeah.
how long it is. And
Yeah,
got
it's
it's just
long.
really a nice sweater.
And it's going to be beautiful, and he's going to love it, and
Yes, he is.
he'll wear it the rest of his life, which
Uh-huh.
is getting shorter at the moment. Sorry, Joe.
You
But
know,
anyway,
he might make it to be 100.
oh yeah, well, hey, I'm
You
good.
know.
I'm
So there
game.
you go. He
Yeah.
could be working.
It'd be
he
a
could
nice
wearing it a
sweater
long
at 100.
time.
Yeah,
Yes, it would be. It'd be a lovely
and that'll be
sweater.
another 40 years
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah, and then he'll be like, who made this for me? I think
Exactly.
my daughter made it for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be magical thinking,
Hi,
because
Chris.
don't have a daughter. he doesn't
Right, I
have a
know
daughter.
that's really magical thinking. That's why I put it in there, because
Yeah.
I know he doesn't have a daughter. He doesn't have any kids.
That's right.
So, but at any rate, oh boy, we're being silly today.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's good. So I want to know who else is a queen of the UFOs.
Yeah, let us know, you guys.
Yeah, you guys let us know who else is the queen. You can find us on. Well, I put this up on my Facebook feed, but you can find us on the Yarn Store. at Nob Hill on Ravelry.
Yeah.
And we always put something up there. Sometimes I put it on the yarn store or the Yarning Around with Kathy and Jeannie group that I made. And then I always do share it on Facebook with my limited number of friends. But I've had, even my brother was like, hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw you on that podcast. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh, and
what?
shout out to Joan in Mississippi.
okay.
Or where is she? Tennessee? I can't remember where you moved. But anyway, she used to be here. And
and now she
her
moved?
daughter got a job
Uh-huh.
and she moved, but she watches the podcast. So
Oh,
hi, Joan. It's nice to
Joan.
see
It's
you.
good to see you. I heard there was some stuff going on in Mississippi, so I hope that you're okay.
Yeah.
There was like some kind of a storm
Big-
and make a tornado,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So I hope that you're safe
Yeah, terrible weather.
and good.
Terrible
Yeah.
weather.
That's what I've heard anyway. Well, I've got something else that
Okay.
I'm working on. Let me grab it down here. So this, I don't know if you remember this beautiful yarn that I had. That's all sparkly and wonderful. And I'm making this. It's getting ready to get moved on to bigger needles.
Oh,
but this
okay.
is going to be a shawl. That's a spiral.
Ooh.
So anyway, so that's what I've been working on is my spiral
pretty.
shawl. And I haven't worked a whole lot on it, but it's actually pretty easy to do. Let's see if we can pull it out, and then you can see. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Sort of. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's going to be this spiral, and so I've been working on that.
And so it has arms that go from the
Arms
eyelets.
that go from the eyelets all the
yeah.
way around.
Oh yeah.
And
So
that's
it's a
how it's going to
swirly
be.
spiral.
It's going to be a swirly spiral that's going to be ginormous.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
so that's what I'm still working on. And I'm going to tell you, shout out for soccer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out for soccer games that you go to, and all you have to, and you can knit and watch the soccer game.
Yay.
So this is the front of the sweater that I'm making for my daughter.
Cute.
Right, and the only problem with this yarn is it's twisty and it comes off on my hands. So there I was knitting away, and someone looked at my hands and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong with your hands?" I said, "Oh, I'm just knitting to the bone. I'm just bleeding here." And they took me seriously.
Oh no.
And came
Oh,
running
how
over.
funny.
"Are you okay? Let me see your hands." I'm like, "No, I'm sorry. I was just joking with you."
Yeah.
So anyway, so I've got that because I have this part done, which is the back.
Aha. Okay.
And how does the back go? Yeah, like this. 'Cause it's got that. This is the back. This is the bottom.
Oh, okay. There we
So
go.
it goes like this. And so I've got these two long panels that I'm making, and this is the front. I've got to knit it up to here. And then I do a little bit different shaping for the front and bring it up to the shoulders. And
Cool.
then I get to make two lace panels that will go in on the sides.
Oh, okay.
So also, this here will be on a lace panel, and then it will be attached. The lace panel will be attached to this side. So there'll be a lace panel in between.
In between. Okay. Gotcha.
And it'll be on both sides.
Yeah. I'm still having trouble visualizing, but
I know
but
you
now that
are.
you say
Oh,
that's
yeah.
better. Okay.
So it's this. Still have this picture of it. So that's what it looks like.
Okay.
So see, that's
So
how
that's-
it looks.
That's better.
And that's
yeah.
the one I'm still working on. So I'm working on it slowly but surely.
All right.
So I've got 3 different projects going, but I'm going full steam ahead on the children. The
Cool.
grandchildren have got to be taken care of.
Yeah. So I'm still working on my. This is my. I feel guilty when I work on it, but I have to work on it sometimes
Why do you
because,
feel guilty?
well, because I'm so tired of knitting on blue for my brother.
Right. But why? But
Well-
because you think you should just be working on the blue.
Right.
So that's what it is. So you feel guilty about it. So does anybody else feel guilty on making yourself work on something, even though there's something else calling for you to do because you want to get it done? Because you've been working on it forever and you need to get it done.
Yeah.
Or even, that it's just utilitarian or whatever. I don't know.
Well, and I get
What do you do?
I get bored. I get bored
yeah.
really easily with what I'm knitting, and so that's why I have 1,000 unfinished projects, because I flit from one to another.
Right.
And I'm a process knitter. I'm not necessarily a project knitter. So for me,
Right.
it's the process that's important. It's the learning something new. It's the experience of something new. It's the experience and the learning of and the difference in yarns. You know, I'm knitting with mohair on one project, and I'm knitting with silk on another, and this and that,
Right.
and that's what floats my boat. Finishing is not
It's not it.
not much. I mean, once I get there and I'm almost done,
Uh-huh.
I get real excited. But yeah, no.
I
Anyway,
understand that. Yeah.
so so this is my. I'd rather be working on this
Oh yeah. So let's see what
than
progress you've
finishing
made
this
on
stinking
it.
sweater. Anyway, you remember this is the cozy chasing rabbits cozy shawl.
Yes, it's so
And
pretty.
and now I am working
Ooh, it's
on
so
the
long.
side panel.
Oh, how cool is
So
that?
yeah, so when you got down
Right.
here,
And it has these little tabs that
Right.
just hang off of it, which I think is
right?
adorable.
Well,
these
and
little things
what's
here.
really cool is see I've left the threads long at the ends,
Right.
And what the designer did was she tied those into tassels
Oh, nice.
on purpose, and
Yeah,
they're
that'll
really
be a
really
really
cute.
good idea.
Yeah. So anyway, when you get done with all this 300 stitches back and forth,
Right.
okay, then you come down to this side, and once you've got this panel knitted, you switch colors, and now you're going the other direction. So you're now is this 45 degrees or at a right angle?
At a right angle.
Because I
to
don't know
this.
how
Okay.
many
Yeah,
degrees that
this
is.
is a right angle.
Yeah.
That's a right angle right there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I was knitting this way.
Right.
Now I'm knitting this way.
This way.
And I knit across, and then at the end here, at the edge of the shawl here, I pick up
Oh, you
and knit a stitch together. And then I go back this direction.
Okay. So,
So
you're,
I'm knitting
is this
back and
sort of
forth.
like a border?
No, this
No.
is just another piece of the shawl, and it's a panel that's going to go the length of the shawl, but it's going to be at right angles.
At right angles
Yeah.
to it.
So it has changed
Okay.
direction, and I'm now on the knit 156 rows or
Of
159 rows of this.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So how many rows into it are you?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't even.
But
ca-
a sum.
You know, I quit counting because I
Okay.
was making myself nuts. But I
Right.
figure you slip the first stitch on every right
Oh,
side row.
right. So you can just count those.
Yeah, so I can count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and once I'm
Right.
there, I'll be all right.
Right.
So that's then I only have to count half of the 159 or whatever, and
Right.
and in the meantime, I can just knit and not have to think about how many rows I've got.
Right. That's
Because
good.
that makes you crazy sometimes. So yeah, so I think I'm probably 60 rows in or something like that. So
Okay.
it'll be another that much ish.
Okay.
And then I switch colors, and I
Okay.
continue to go this direction,
Oh, but a different color.
and it'll have another color.
Oh,
Yeah,
how
like
cool is
maybe
that?
maybe the variegated color
Uh-huh.
or the multicolor. I don't know. But anyway,
Okay.
so it'll be fun.
Well, that'll be good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really nice. Yeah, that sparkly shawl that I'm working with, the swirl, that's my project I really want to be working on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying. And I've thought, well, maybe I could take one day and just knit on that.
Yeah.
But the problem is that I don't have a lot of time. I don't have as much time for knitting as I want.
Right.
So that's a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But like I said, hooray for soccer games.
Right. Well, and
'Cause I
now
was out watching 4 soccer games over this past weekend. So we were there for a while, and I just
That's a lot,
sat,
yeah.
and then I was able to just look at him, because I was just knitting back and
Yeah.
forth. So.
well, I remember those days of junior wrestling.
Oh, uh-huh.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's get up and drive to
Oh, yeah.
wherever at 5 o'clock in the morning to be there at 7 for weigh-in,
Right.
and then wrestling would go all day, and
Right.
sometimes till 7 or 8 o'clock
Oh,
at night,
wow.
and then you have to drive home. Anyway,
Ooh, yeah.
so
So did you get a lot of knitting done?
I got a lot of knitting done
Good.
at those days. Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
Those were tough days. I can't. How did we do all that stuff?
Yeah, no, I understand. It's rough,
Yeah,
with kids, and then you change, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm glad I'm retired now. I don't have to do that.
Right.
I'll
I
go
still
to-
have to work, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's not the way it used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have a lot of responsibility, and I see patients and keep them out
Yeah.
of the hospital and all that stuff. But I have a lot of flexibility, being an independent contractor.
Right.
Taxes, not so much
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
But you can learn to do things.
Yeah. Well, and when you don't have, and your kids and mine are of an age now that
Right.
they're on their own.
Yes, they are totally on their own.
And
I think
so,
Anna turned 24, 25.
Wow.
She was born in
Yeah.
1995, so that's all I know.
Ah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so what is she,
23,
24.
24? Yeah.
She's 24.
Yeah. So once your kids are
She's
are
the youngest.
on their own, it takes a lot of pressure off us single moms.
Yeah,
who-
it sort of does, but you
have
know,
to
it was
do
so
everything.
hard that first year. You know, if you consider, I'm 59 years old, okay, and I grew up. I went to college and I lived in my house. I never went to the dorms because we couldn't afford
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then I left and got my first job out in Chinle, Arizona, and I lived there by myself for about 6 months.
Wow.
And then I met the father of my children,
Mm-hmm.
and he moved in.
Yep.
So I have lived, let's say this started like last year. So I've lived 58 years with someone else,
Wow. Yes.
with only the exception of living by myself for 6 months.
Yeah.
So that was really hard for me to get into that. You
Yeah.
know, it was really hard that I was, working and living with people and, having somebody to talk to when I came home at the end of the day
Right.
and, that sort of thing. And now here I am by myself.
Yeah.
And then, you go and the phone works both ways.
Yeah.
But I did an experiment. And at one period when this was first beginning, 2 weeks went by. Nobody called me.
Yeah.
So, then of course I called them.
Yeah.
And then I said, guys, I'm feeling sort of alone. And I explained the whole thing. And I said, so it would be nice. I said, I can call you and I will call you. But it would be nice if you guys stopped in or called me or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Once in a while.
because I love you and I want to know what's going on with you. And also you love me and I'm going through a
Yeah.
rough time right now. I'm not
Yeah.
wanting you to move back in. I'm not saying anything like that.
Right.
And I'm not trying to guilt you because you all have busy lives, you
Yeah.
know. But if you could please remember me, that would be nice.
Yeah.
So they listened. And
Yay.
so now
That's
they
good.
check in and I, call them and they call me and my son stopped by on certain days. And
That's good.
so it's really pretty
good.
cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that was good.
Yeah.
And but yeah, living alone is sort of hard. Now I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then when people come over, I start to get a little cranky. It's time for you to go.
Yes.
I want to be by myself again.
Yes.
Just
Nice
talking
to
to my
see you.
dog
Where's your
and my
hat?
cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And I was, trying to be the helpful mom, and so whatever they need, if they needed to move in for a little while, I
Yeah.
changed the rooms around. I did all, and
Yeah.
that's over with now. I've
Yeah.
made it very clear that no, they're not able to
Yeah.
come stay and live with me. That's not an option.
Yeah.
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 And they don't really want that option,
No. No, that's true. That's true. My daughter moved back from Oklahoma, and she moved in with my ex on across town from where I live, and he's making noises about moving, which is which gives her about 4 to 6 months to get ready to do something different. And I said, well, I could rent a 2-bedroom apartment
Yeah.
where I am,
Right.
and then you could move in. But you really don't want her to live with your mother, do you? And she said,
No.
no, of course not.
Good.
Which is
That's good.
the response I expected, and that's
right.
fine.
And that's good because no,
Yeah.
you don't really want to live with your mother. Now you want your mother to come live with you maybe when when she gets older
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
You know, everybody does things differently, and
Yeah.
every mother is different in what they want and
Yeah.
what they don't want.
Yeah.
So I'm moving into a new house. It's going to be a little further away from the yarn store than I really like, but
Yeah.
it's doable.
Yeah.
And so I figured out how to make that all work, that I'll be
That's
able
great.
to come in and still be here and see my friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like a little home for me.
Yeah.
I really miss it when I'm not around. So I really enjoy it. So anyway, but what I'm thinking of is I'm going to have a bunch of rooms, like these little bedrooms that they're tiny. I mean, I don't know how
Yeah.
you would fit a bunch of kids in those rooms, but
Yeah.
at any rate, yeah, they're very small. But one of them is going to be my yarn room.
Yay.
So that's what I've wanted for all these
Yeah.
years. I pictured years and years ago when
Yeah.
I was going through a really rough time.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what do you want your life to look like? Even
Yeah.
if you don't think you can ever get it.
Right.
If it's
Yeah.
not, you don't think it's really possible. So I wrote it down, and I wrote that I was going to be surrounded by yarn and fiber,
Nice.
and that I was going to have my spinning wheel there, and that my life was going to be around in this direction.
Nice.
And sure enough, it's coming true. I mean, it's
That's
been
good.
coming true.
That's good.
But now, instead of, you know, having it spread here and there and put under a bed here or there, tucked in
Yeah.
that closet, now I'm going to have a dedicated room to it. So that just
That'll be
seems really
nice.
good.
Yeah.
And
that'll
I'm
be nice.
also going to have a room that has a library in it.
Yay.
Because I found this new thing called Library Things.
Yeah.
It's on it's online. And what you do is it goes by the USB number, USBN number.
yeah, sure.
So you use that, you put it in, they find the book, you tell them where it is, what shelf it's on, what room
Wow.
it's in, what house it's in, if you have a lot of houses, and then it will store that for you. So that if you want to know where your book is, you just go look there, and it will tell you, and then you go to your shelves.
Wow.
I'm like, wonderful, because I still have the old time copybooks.
Yeah.
They also will do that for Kindle books. And so you can
Wow.
put your Kindle books in, you can say that it's in Kindle, or you can put it on your Audible.
Wow.
So that way you'll know exactly where the book is. So I'm like, oh, yes. This sounds like a great project for me and my grandson who loves to organize things.
That's nice.
So
yeah.
we're going to work on
Yeah.
that together, and I'm going to have my room with my bookshelves in it, and there you go.
Oh,
that
that's
way I'll know
wonderful.
where all my books are.
Mine are in storage. Mine are in one of the two storage units I have. And I think I've got, well, my dad had, I don't know, 3,000 books, 4,000 books.
Oh my goodness!
in the
how
house when he died.
wonderful! How wonderful!
And I probably kept 1,200.
1,200.
Yeah,
Okay, that's still a lot.
that's a lot.
But you
And
got
then
rid of a lot.
I got rid of a I'd say 75% of the books, and I
Okay.
donated a lot to the university in our town.
Right.
And then I sold or gave away a lot of things. But anyway,
Right. Right. I understand that.
in the meantime, I don't know how many books I have because I never cataloged mine. But I had,
There
I
go.
collect,
You can collect
collected
them, of course.
I collected books like I collect yarn for years and years and years.
Well, right,
So,
because I've got a lot of yarn books and techniques and things like that, and it's nice to be able to pull them out
Right.
and look at it and see what's going on.
Right.
Because that helps me to have like a nice collection
yeah,
of yarn or knitting or crocheting or
Right.
whatever you like. That's what's so nice about the library that we have here.
Yeah.
I've taken some books from there. I've brought in and put some books
Yeah.
in there. But that way, you have a whole thing. Oh,
Right.
maybe I could do that as a little project for the knitting
Yeah.
store. I could go through and do the USBN numbers and then put them in an organized way. And then we would have a list of what we have.
yeah.
Oh, I think that might be a project for me after Christmas when I have all the
Okay.
mittens done.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. Oh, I'll have to check with Jamie and make sure it's
Okay.
okay. But
And
I
then-
think that it'll work.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And then you'll have to come find out what I still have from the yard store.
Well, no, I don't think you have to. I think it's a
But-
lending library that's one that you can just take and
But yeah, that's
forever.
that's the nice thing about the library here is, if you like a book, take it home.
Right.
If you want to Xerox something out of it, do that.
Do that, right.
Just remember what book you borrowed and bring it back. And if you've got books to contribute, bring them.
Bring them in. Yeah.
You know, it's one of the things that's nice is that nobody's like gonna call you up and say, do you have
yeah.
that book?
No,
You know,
they don't do that
it's-
at all.
This is not Oprah's Tupperware.
No,
Okay.
it's not.
So-
It's wonderful. Yeah, I know. Oprah remembers her Tupperware.
Bless her heart. That's fine.
That's so funny.
That's funny.
I hadn't thought of that in a long time, but yes,
Yeah.
that's
So this
true.
is not Oprah's Tupperware, but that's okay. And it's really nice for people to be able to come in and make use of the library
Right.
when maybe they can't afford that $40 Fair Isle book or
Exactly,
whatever.
because
So yeah,
I can't always afford
Yeah.
it. So that's really what's nice about it.
yeah,
So I like that.
yeah. Also, I was going to say when we got started on single parents and
right,
not having time and stuff like that, there is an unfinished objects group, a UFO group
Okay.
that meets at the local coffee shop, Napoli Coffee, on Thursday afternoons, 1 to 3. So if you have an unfinished object that you really need to finish, here's the only rule. You have to promise yourself you're either going to work on that object
Okay.
or rip it and
Or rip
find
it,
another
okay.
unfinished object to work on.
That's a good idea.
Because we all have that stuff, and I am so guilty of this. 35 projects easy.
Oh yeah.
Sitting around in bags.
Yeah.
And it's not. Half of them I don't remember what they are anymore. I know I started them. Like somebody was knitting something cool, and I just decided to start it, and then I
Right.
got on to something else because can't
Yeah.
stick
I
with
hear
one
ya.
thing. So I have all these unfinished objects. Well, it's either time to decide I'm going to finish it and finish it,
Right.
or just move on. Rip it, do something else with the yarn, or give it away,
Right.
or whatever. But let's not I just can't deal with everything just sitting around in a bag in limbo now anymore.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's
That's moving on. That's getting
yeah.
That's getting unstuck.
Yes,
from
that's
where
getting
you are.
unstuck. That's getting
Oh,
unstuck.
Lucy
yeah.
sees the cat that's here.
Yeah, we have a new cat in the store. His
And-
name's Yoda. He's so
Yoda.
cute.
He's very pretty.
But Lucy, Kathy's dog, would love to play with Yoda, and
That's
Yoda's not having much of it.
I don't think so. And I don't have her running around loose because we're getting the new lighting in the back,
Right.
and I don't want her to go back there
Right.
and cause any problems.
So she's stuck at the end of her tether,
Yes.
looking at the kitty, saying,
And saying,
"Me,
come over, come on over,
play."
play. And the kitty's like, no,
No.
I don't think so.
Not.
Anyway, that's pretty cool. So I could just talk to you forever. I feel like we haven't seen each other, and I
well,
hope people are
it's been a long
interested
time.
still too, because I really enjoy talking about
Yeah.
knitting and
I
in
do
real
too.
life,
Yeah.
and what's going on in our lives and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, so you're gonna hear a little barking dog because she is there wanting to play with the cat.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what is coming up at the yarn store. We have that famed trip to Winslow.
Yes. Yay.
Do you want to fill us in on that? You know a little bit more about it.
Let's
I
see.
think.
Winslow. Oh, let me look at my dates. The trip to Winslow. This is the third year we're going to do the trip to Winslow, and it is. I don't have. Oh, February 21st, 2020, through February 24th, 2020. We have extended the registration through the end of November. So if you read the email and thought you couldn't go, you still have to the end of November to sign up. Please consider it. There's plenty of room. For those of you who don't know about the Winslow trip, we take the train from Albuquerque New Mexico to Winslow, Arizona. And we get off in Winslow, Arizona and walk across the brick walkway to the hotel. And it's the La Posada Hotel. It's a beautiful old Harvey house.
Right.
And very historic. It was one of the places that when soldiers were drafted and caught the trains going across the country from one end of the country to the other, they would stop in Winslow, Arizona, and there was time to get off the train and go to the hotel, and there were Harvey girls there who handed out sandwiches to the troops.
Right.
Thousands and thousands of sandwiches a day to these
Wow.
troops as they were transported across the country to be shipped off wherever. Anyway, it's a wonderful, beautiful hotel, beautiful, beautiful grounds, so much fun. And we have little mini classes, and we sit and knit and drink margaritas and have wonderful food.
It's a lot of
and
fun.
wonderful community. So if that's something that appeals to you, please contact the store or go to the newsletter and find the Winslow trip details, and
Right.
please sign up because
It's a lot
we
of
want
fun.
to see you there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really neat.
So I hope that you can go. I hope I can go. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I still have to make that decision.
Yeah.
But I am at a place where I want to show you a technique. This is how I do it. It's not how everybody does it, but this is the way I like to join my things in the round. So I have my two ends here. So I take the end that has the tail on it and I slip it to the other needle. Jeannie, you have to let me know if I'm in the right spot for people to see things. Okay, so I've slipped that onto this needle,
Yeah, that looks good.
so y'all can see that. Then I take the one that it's attached to the ball because it has more stretch on it, and I take that stitch
Hold your hands up.
and I hold my hands up.
There,
Okay,
that's
there we
better.
go. That's where I need to be. Thank you. So then I go here and I take this one here and I put it on the other needle.
So you're taking the first stitch of the last stitch you cast on,
Yes.
and you're pulling it over the
Onto,
first stitch you cast on.
I'm not pulling it over. I'm just moving the last stitch. I move over to the needle.
Okay.
Then I take the first stitch. This was the first stitch or the last stitch. Okay, so this was the first stitch,
Yeah.
and I moved it over. Then the last stitch,
Uh-huh.
is still attached to this tail.
Right.
So then I put that over to the other side.
Okay, so you just lifted them
I just
over
lift
each
them
other.
over each
Okay.
other.
All righty.
And then that's how it's joined. So
Oh,
that's how
cool.
I join for in the round.
That's
and what
neat.
I like is that it doesn't leave like a sort of a space there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what
Yeah.
what I do.
How cool is that?
So now I've got it knitted in the round, and I just take it like this, and so the yarn from the ball is coming from here, so I don't even turn it around. I just then will knit that first stitch that I had done, and then I'm just doing a knit 2, purl 1, and these needles are a little bit sticky because I've only got 40 stitches on here, but when I do the first row, they are beautiful to knit on.
Well, and that would make a newborn? No, not a newborn hat. A preemie hat,
This would make a preemie hat, yeah.
or the cuff to a mitten.
The cuff to a mitten, which
Or
is what I'm
a
doing.
Uh-huh,
Or a whole mitten. I can do the whole mitten until I get up to the top where I have to decrease. And then I change to 4 double pointed needles.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's how I do that with that. And so anyway, that's just a tip, and I just thought I would share
Yeah.
it with you since this is the spot that I'm
Yeah.
at in this knitting here.
Sounds good.
So,
good.
okay, so let me put that aside for a second and tell you all about Krista Ann. She has something called the Knitsy Knits,
Okay.
and she holds the title for LA's fastest knitter. And she has built a solid reputation as the knitter to go to when a piece is needed yesterday.
Cool.
She's been knitting for fashion designers and stylists and creating custom pieces for costume designers. Most recently, she She has designed and knit many pieces for Mindy Kaling in the Mindy Project,
Ooh.
and has a sweater featured in the movie Annabelle Coming Home. Now that is a dream job for me, but I don't do it fast enough. So she's the one that can do it fast. So she is coming here, and on Friday, November 22nd, from 5:30 to 7, she is going to have an artist talk and a book signing, and she'll talk about her life and her travel. And she's also going to be signing copies of her newly published book called Knits That Rock Volume 1. So that's free. So anybody can come to that and hear her talk and get her book signed if you want to, or just look at it. Look at her and see what's going on. Then on Saturday, November 23rd, from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., she's going to do a beginning brioche. So it's every way. If you want to see brioche, that's beautiful. Come in and see Chris on the weekend.
Yeah.
Chris has been working on so many beautiful brioche patterns, and I'm like, I just need to do this too. But I have not taken the time. I got a Craftsy, class
Yeah.
that I bought
Yeah.
that's about brioche.
Yeah.
And I started, and I did good with the adding, but
Uh-huh.
when I was decreasing, for some reason, I was having a lot of trouble. So I would need somebody to show me how to do
Yeah.
that, because I'm just not getting it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can learn on videos, and sometimes
Yeah.
you really can't.
Yeah.
So, at least I can't. So anyway, she's going to teach the basics of brioche stitch. We're going to learn the special cast on and bind off, and
Nice.
all the brioche awesomeness in between.
Cool.
So we can master the basics, and then the sky is the limit. And it's $50 for that class. And then on the same day, Saturday, November 23rd, from 2:30 to 4:30, she's going to do a class called Hollywood Finishing. And that you're going to learn 23, probably more, techniques and tricks to make your knitting look professional and incorporate something new into every project you work on.
Nice.
Discover the secrets used to be sure that each piece has flawless finishes